rate at which magnetic fields decay. And it turns out our magnetic field is decaying. We can measure the decay of Earth's magnetic field. If you were to run Earth's magnetic field back even 60,000 years, it would have been stronger than a neutron star, which is more than enough to rip the atoms of your body apart.
One of the single strongest arguments for a young Earth is the decay of the Earth's magnetic field. As you see here, the Earth has a magnetic field, which is critically important to our lives, and we have been able to measure the decay, the weakening, the shrinking of the Earth's magnetic field for 200 years. Based on solid scientific data, we know that the Earth's magnetic field shrinks, weakens, decays by 50% every 1,400 years. And that means that if we go forward in time, only a mere 2,000 years, no life would exist on Earth. Simply because when the Earth's magnetic field goes to zero, the deadly radiation coming from the sun would irradiate all life on Earth. God created the magnetic field to protect us from this deadly radiation, among other things. But if we go back in time, we have a similar problem. If we go back in time only a mere 10,000 years, the Earth's magnetic field would be 200 times stronger than today. It would kill all life on Earth. So we are living in a very narrow band of time. God never intended the Earth to last for a long time once it became imperfect. And so the Earth cannot even be 10,000 years old, but that is perfectly consistent with the creation 6,000 years ago. And so the decay of the Earth's magnetic field is one of the single strongest arguments for young Earth, over 300 scientific arguments. It limits the age of the Earth to less than 10,000 years old, totally consistent with what the Bible teaches us. That evolutionists cannot be telling us the truth when they say it is millions and millions years old. It is simply impossible.
The magnetic field, the decay of the magnetic field, I completely agree with you. That is a fantastic line of evidence supporting a young Earth. I've heard some evolutionists and uniformitarians try and rescue the old Earth by saying, well, maybe the Earth's magnetic field has gone through reversals, maybe it's not exponential decay, these types of rescue devices. What are your thoughts about those, Dr. Grady?
They're living in a fool's paradise. Let's think about this for just a second. First, I'll start off with a great truth, and then we'll attack the question directly, okay? First of all, I don't care what you find in science that disproves evolution, particularly things that are linear, say. They will say, oh no, it's curvilinear. And then when you find something that refutes evolution that's curvilinear, they'll say, oh no, it's straight line. That is a great truth. It comes from Dr. Grady's 101 Great Scientific Truths. Now, when we apply that to the decay of the magnetic field, even evolutionists will agree, because they have to. It's fact. We can measure the decay of the Earth's magnetic field as it is occurring today. Everybody agrees it's going down in strength. Everybody agrees it was stronger in the past. It'll be weaker in the future. That's fact, and they deal with it. However, they realize that if it decays to zero, it proves them wrong. So what do? They invent a fairy tale for adults. And they say, well, yes, it goes to zero, but it's curvilinear. And so what happens is when it does go to zero, then the poles reverse, north-south reverse. The field is regenerated and then starts to decay again. Now, that's a fairy tale, because let's look at the science of that. Now, everybody in the audience is pretty much aware of MRIs or MRTs, depending upon what country you're in. And magnetic resonance imaging works on people. We stick you inside a big electromagnet. We can visualize what you look like on the inside with the use of a computer and software program. And it's really great stuff. I mean, I've had about 6 or 7 myself. It's a whole lot better than cutting you open. But think about it. It works on the basis of magnetism. Now, if you take the current decay of the Earth's magnetic field, remember, it decays the same way a radioactive material decays. It's not a straight line. So it decays with a half-life. Now, we know the half-life because we've measured it long enough. Remember that we've measured the Earth's magnetic field now for almost 200 years. And we know it has a half-life of 1,400 years. So if you go back in time, every 1,400 years, it's going to double. In the future, it's going to half. Now, if you go back 8 to 10,000 years, the strength of the Earth's magnetic field would be lethal. It would simply kill you. Every single cell in your body would be ripped to shreds. So that means, number one, humans cannot have been on the Earth even 8 to 10,000 years, so we didn't evolve from 8 to some million years ago. And let's think about this thing about reversal. Now, if the magnetic field goes to zero, we're all going to die, because the magnetic field of the Earth causes what's called the Van Allen radiation belts, but it is protecting us from the deadly radiation, primarily solar winds and some galactic radiation as well. But if we don't have it, we'll all be irradiated and die. So if you go forward a while, we're going to die. You go back more than 8 to 10,000 years, we'd be dead. We live in a very short window of time. Next question, second law of thermodynamics. If it went to zero, please tell me by what natural mechanism the field could be regenerated. That's where it's a fairy tale. There's nothing in nature that would rebuild the field. That's asking again to get something from nothing. And so when we take a look at the particulars, the story might sound convincing to those that are not educated or not aware of the science. But to somebody who does know the science, it's an absolutely vacuous argument.
Well, that's a great detailed answer, Dr. Grady, and I love the way you explained it there. And from my understanding, and as you pointed out there, is if we were to run Earth's magnetic field back even just 60,000 years ago, it would have then been stronger than a neutron star, which is more than enough to literally rip the atoms of our body apart. So
well, if you go back 10,000 years, theoretically, you would have what we would call a magnetic star. But of course, life doesn't exist on stars. You don't have to go back 60,000, 10,000, you're dead. And so, again, these ages they talk about cannot possibly happen. And let's take it a little further then. Okay, so if you go back even 8 to 10,000 years, we're all be dead. And again, if you go forward, say another 14 to 2,800 years, we're all going to be dead. But let's just buy for a second that somehow or another we could survive. And that some mythological way in which we can regenerate the field. Think about the consequences of that. Because what that would mean is that life would have to evolve, all of that life that they talk about, evolving in only the last few thousand years, and it would be dead 10,000 years from now. So that means every time the Earth's magnetic field cycled, then we have to start all over again. And even they don't believe that.
The magnetic field shields the Earth from cosmic radiations. We know from real-time measurements that I referred to yesterday that the Earth's magnetic field was stronger in the past. A stronger magnetic field meant less carbon-14 production as a result of shielding the Earth from cosmic rays. So if you don't take into effect the Earth's magnetic field being stronger in the past, twice as strong 1,400 years ago, means the radiocarbon production rate was smaller in the past. And so if you don't take that into effect, you're assuming the carbon-14 rate has always been the same. You've already got a problem if you're not taking into account the effect of the strengthening of the Earth's magnetic field.
I could go on and on.